We're gonna talk about things, and I think we're also gonna talk about stuff. You want to talk about things, and you want to talk about stuff, huh? We're gonna tell some stories with my tube sock here. And I gotta protect names on here. Okay, so I'm gonna change names. If you want to figure out who these people are, look at the only picture I have on Facebook with any other humans from the last 5 years, and I'm pretty sure you can figure out who the fuck I'm talking about. Oh, I want to tell a story. I'm gonna tell a story. Oh boy, I got a lot on the list right here. There was a little bit of legwork that went into this. We're gonna talk about being a juvenile delinquent. Okay, because that's all you get out of being a bad kid. You get some good stories and some things you're embarrassed to tell people at a dinner party. Okay, so story one. Oh, that was loud. Story one. Why can't I yell? I need to be farther away if I'm gonna yell. I'm gonna be close when I'm doing this. I'm gonna get central when I'm close to the mic, and then when I'm far away from the mic, I'm gonna go boom, boom. That's still not far enough. We could fix that in post. All right, that's fine. So you guys remember doing mischief as a kid? You remember doing mischief? You know, ringing doorbells, TPing houses. Well, we took it a step further, okay? We took things a little bit further. We would terrorize people's neighborhoods, including mine. And so a lot of these stories are going to center around middle school, early high school years of being a bad kid. I was a very bad kid, okay? And not because I stole cookies out of a jar, okay? I ruined some people's lives. And, I kind of deserve the existence I have now because of what I did. And you're going to see why. Let's cut back to, this was 7th grade, 6th or 7th or 8th, I don't know. We're in my neighborhood in Spartan, New Jersey. My friend Kowalski. Yeah, okay. I won't use his name. My friend Kowalski. I loved the sleepovers because that was how you'd sneak out at night. You'd have to have a sleepover. So we took a couple rolls of toilet paper at first because we would go out in shifts, right? So we would do our beginning shift where we'd go out, we would TP a couple houses, and that would get our blood flowing a little bit, Come back, the cops maybe are rolling around looking for us, so we'd come back to the house. Another 2 hours later, we'd go back out. This time, what are we armed with? What are we armed with? Eggs, okay? We're armed with eggs, we're armed with ketchup, we're armed with all kinds of condiments, okay? Anything we could get our hands on, and we got more toilet paper. So this at this point, it's like 2 a.m. We're out. There's these kids in our neighborhood. I'll say their names because, I don't care about protecting them. I was doing them wrong. This kid, Jeff, we ran TP across every tree so that when his parents had to go into work in the morning because it was a work night, they had to break through all the strands of TP going across their driveway. Then we made our way up to a little guy named Scott, his house. And we covered his doormat in ketchup. TP'd the whole place, wrapped the car so you couldn't see an inch of it in toilet paper. Put ketchup all over it, mustard, the works, probably mayonnaise too. Mayonnaise is like a good consistency because ketchup will stay where it's at, but mayonnaise, we put it on the windows. You put mayonnaise on a window, it very slowly comes down. It's got like a glue-like texture, I don't know if any of that made sense. Anyways, that's not the part of the story that's interesting, That's run-of-the-mill kid shit. We decide 9 a.m. Dad's at work. He says, "Hey, Nick, you got to clean up the dog shit in the yard." So I said, "Hey, you know who would love dog shit in their yard and on their doormat is Scott, So we pick up all the dog shit. I know, this is insane. The lengths we went through and the calculated nature of this. So we took all the dog shit in a bag back to the house that we went to twice and terrorized. And it was like 90 to 100 degrees this day. And we go through, you got to go through the back of my woods. We go there, we get right to his cul-de-sac, put the shit right on the doormat. This was right at the end of August. So fast forward to the first week of school. This kid's in Kyle's grade, a year older than me. This kid starts asking, he's trying to figure out who did this to his house. And a nice piece of information I get out of all this. Kyle's in class, he's like, I have no idea who's doing this to you. Oh shit, I said his name. Fuck, I'll edit that out. So Kowalski's in class. And Scott's like, hey, who did this to my house? And Kowalski goes, why? What happened? What did they do? He goes, I found like a mound of dog shit on my front porch. And it melted into the doormat, and we had to throw out the doormat. And I mean, that's just getting us started. You know what I'm saying? That's just getting us started on the kind of shit that we were doing. That's like JV league compared to some of the shit we would get into. I mean, I don't want to jump to this all the way, but this is like, all right, so I'll show, yeah, because I got a bunch of other stories with the other kid that we were fucking his neighborhood up. I'll jump to this story. This was 8th grade. There's this kid, Ryan, who's a pyromaniac, and he would light things on fire. And we were skateboarding at this place. This kid's fucking annoying. I don't like this. I mean, none of us like this kid. And he came up, and he just started lighting random things on fire because he sucked at skateboarding. And we're like, hey, dude, get away from us. Don't want to get in trouble for something that, we're not having fun doing. Fast forward to, 9 at night. There's like a kids football game going on across the street. We're skating at the middle school. This kid takes leaves and lighter fluid on the hood of this minivan, puts it all on there, and just lights this. Like, I don't know what he expected to happen, but he just like lights it on fire because he would just like starting fires and putting them out all day. He thought that, maybe if you light a car on fire, you can put it out. So he lights it on fire, then puts his dick in the gas can and starts peeing in the person's gas tank. And then as he takes too long to put his dick in their gas hole, the whole car starts lighting on fire. Now there's like a football game going on next door. He gets scared and runs away, and we just, we dip out too. We go to the football game. And, that was like the first time that I was like, oh shit. There's consequences to our actions. Because the cops tried to arrest me and my friend because people saw us up there. And we're like, no, dude, like, definitely did not light a car on fire. I've done some pretty bad shit but I would never just light a car on fire, unless someone was being mean to me. Then, of course, I have to light your car on fire, But that's like the extreme of fucking with people. We would never go that far. We would go just far oh wait, no. Fuck. We did go that far a couple times. We got one person's house, we got them to install security cameras around their house because we would just bash and break all the shit around their property for like a year straight. This is at a golf course. My friend James, I'll say. That's his real name. We call him Jimmy or whatever. I'm not even protecting his name anymore, but I don't think he would care. We would absolutely destroy this neighborhood. And I don't think kids do this I don't think kids do this to the extent that we did anymore. Cuz we didn't have fucking enough technology to keep sometimes 6, 7, 8 kids sleeping at one house, entertained. So what would we do? We would go out and we would destroy people's things. That was our fun. And this is like like a higher end community. So we didn't really feel bad. It's not like we're breaking something that they really saved up for, It's like we had this friend who his favorite thing was, he was like 300 pounds in 8th grade, and his favorite thing was just jumping on inflatable like snowmen or Santa Clauses, whatever holiday it was, because as soon as he would jump onto it, it would just explode violently. One of the things we would do, we loved throwing snowballs. Remember throwing snowballs at cars? Remember how fun that was? Sometimes it would be an ice ball. This one time, Jimmy, we were over there on the golf course, threw it was like a mountain we were on top of, and he throws a rock. It goes right through can't remember if it was their windshield or their rear windshield, but it put a rock right through their car. And no one was hurt, but that's like potentially, a bad situation to be throwing projectiles, 500 feet up down into a car. I'm just trying to go through my notes. Oh, so much fucked up shit. I remember we did Halloween in 7th grade. We did Halloween in this neighborhood. And, oh man, we did so much fucked up shit. And our friend Bobby, he was always like afraid to do like mischief with us, so we forced him to. We peer pressured him. You remember peer pressure? It was very egalitarian abuse, because everyone's giving it to you. So it's not like you're singled out by one person. It's not like bullying. Peer pressure is like a really egalitarian bullying, I'll say. And you probably deserve it if everyone's trying to get you to do something, whatever you're doing, it's probably wrong, and you should do whatever people are telling you to do. So we get him to finally we're throwing pumpkins and shit in the road or at cars. So Bobby finally gets the balls to throw a pumpkin, and he whips this pumpkin, the first car that he throws a pumpkin at, right onto the back bumper. It's a police car. It's a police car on Halloween. And we run into the woods, and this kid's gut reaction in 7th grade is to just start crying. Like, what kind of trouble are you going to get in that's going to make... I don't know, man. Come to think of it, I cried a lot as a kid. I can't judge that. I was a crier as a kid. Who here cried? You guys like to cry? I loved crying as a kid. Took a lot to not cry as a kid. I remember I cried at a karate class, and I don't even know why. I just didn't want to do it anymore, and I didn't know how to tell my parents that I thought karate was the lamest fucking shit ever. So just one day right as we start karate practice, I just start crying. That's my last memory of karate. Man, and then we get older, and we start getting into some worse things as kids. We started drinking and smoking marijuana. This is... I'm trying to think. This was this is end of 8th grade, I want to say. I think... Alright, well, we'll talk about drinking, and I'll go back to telling you about my first time smoking weed, because that's an interesting story. But drinking, my friend Jimmy, that neighborhood we used to destroy, we would do all kinds of shit on this golf course. There's a lot of kids that we knew that lived around there. And Jimmy knew this kid, I guess like a family friend. He wasn't autistic, but he was like physically autistic, Like his mind was all there, as so far as I know in that age. But he had this thing, like both his arms were like this, pitched in. Both his toes were pitched in, and he was very short and and a meek person, like it looked like a doll that a kid was playing with, and how they turn the limbs all kinds of wrong ways. That was this kid. And we would go ding dong ditching with him, and we had to carry him on our backs and shit, like Freak the Mighty. because he couldn't run because he needed like sticks to walk, you know? Well, we get to the age where we start drinking, and this kid wants to drink with us. And the way we would drink at our friend Jimmy's house is we would hide a bottle of vodka in the bathroom under the sink. We'd go in one at a time and take like a drink, take a swig. This is end of 8th grade or early freshman year, I can't remember. So I go in to take a swig. This kid, I forget his name, is already in there, you know, the crippled kid. And he's just there. Like, it looked like the wrongest thing you could ever think of. Like, no one that crippled should ever be intoxicating their body. It's like you're naturally intoxicated. You don't need anything. Like, God already said, you know, you're not going to be able to walk good. You don't need to physically put a liquid that's going to make that even harder for you, you know? And I just walk in, and he's got one stilt in his hand holding himself up. And then he's got the bottle of vodka. And he's going, oh my God, this is so good. This is so fucked up to describe this, but I mean, truth be told, this is just how we, you know, he was just our friend, and we would just laugh at his disability, and he loved it. That was the thing about being a kid. You could just laugh at a disability, and it didn't have to be wrong, you know? The kid with the disability would just be like, yeah, I have a disability. Pretty funny, right? And it didn't have to be, wasn't called bullying at that time. It wasn't called bullying. It was just calling a spade a spade. This kid's drinking vodka when he can't even walk straight to begin with. And, yeah, a lot of nights, for some reason, every, like, celebration, that kid would come out onto the golf course and just, like, get fucking absolutely hammered, and we'd have to carry him home. Damn, dude. Where the fuck were his... come to think of it, I've never met his parents. How does a kid like that have no supervision going on, you know? Yeah, it blows my mind, man. I mean, I didn't have a lot of supervision as a kid, but I could walk in a straight line. So, like, that's at least a baseline, like... You know, you could understand my parents' negligence, you know? Anyways... Yeah, we fucked that whole neighborhood up. I mean, even senior year of high school, I remember getting chased. Like, we never stopped terrorizing that neighborhood, and they basically all just gave up on trying to stop us. Like, I remember one time someone chased me through the woods with their dogs. And, like, it took me several hours to get back to our friend's house because we all got separated in the woods getting chased by cops and a guy with his dogs through the woods. I mean, like... top grade fun that people probably don't do anymore, you know? Like, that is so... You don't get that kind of entertainment on a PlayStation, I'll just say that. Like, nothing gets your heart beating, like thinking some grown man is gonna beat the shit out of you when you're like a fucking middle of the way pubescent child. And one of the kids who lived in that neighborhood grew up to hate me. And he was a muscle bound guy. He was real jacked. You know, his dad, true story. His dad would go everywhere with like weightlifting gloves on, you know. And we called him Gloves. That was just his name. And you'd see him all over town with his gloves on. So naturally his kid, you know, had to get jacked or whatever at a young age. And this kid loved to fight people. I mean, what else are you going to do as a kid that's jacked other than be equally violent? So fast forward to like sophomore year in high school. I don't even know what spawned this, you know. It absolutely doesn't matter. Like, every feud you have as a kid, you look back and you're like, wow, that was over that? So we're walking through the middle of our town. We see this other kid walking through with another kid who's even bigger than him, but not like jacked. He's a doughy kid, and this kid had bullied me when I was a little kid. I don't know, for some reason he just stopped one day. I don't know. I think it's because some older kids threatened to, like, you know, kids with broken homes I befriended, and then they just threatened to stab kids that were bullying me. I think that's how a lot of my bullying ended. Like, a lot of kids are like, yeah, I got jacked to stop the bullying. It's like, I didn't necessarily need to get jacked. I just, just befriend a kid with an abusive parent, and then you sick that kid onto the bully. And the kid's like, oh, damn, like, I thought my parents were bad, but this kid's parents pulling knives on him and shit, and he's not afraid to pull a knife on me. So, I mean, that's really how you stop bullying. You don't need to spend hours in the gym or at a boxing gym or something. Anyways, we see these kids in town. The Jack kid's mad at me about something. And I'm like 125, 130 pounds at this age. And this kid's like 180, 190. So he goes to punch me, and I'm like, oh yeah, no thanks. I think I won't take that punch to the face. And I'm 130 pounds, and I'm very athletic. I run. That's what I do at that age, Fight or flight. Yeah, I'm faster than about 90% of my grade. I think I'll run from the muscle-bound retard. Yeah, no. I'm going to use that word here because he's a retard. Not like he's autistic, like literally an annoying fuck. A retard. So, in his jock mind, what does he do? He goes, well, that kid's out. So what do I do? So what is he? He's thinking, what do I do? He just goes to the next friend that I have that's also my size, because there's like 4 or 5 of us. And he just starts attacking him. And he just punches that kid in the face, my friend Seth. And our friend Matt, who's with us, this kid's a master negotiator. I'll tell you, like, I'm not really a storyteller. I'm more of like a, I just like to go on tangents and, say stupid things. I would rather we don't even get to the end of the story. We go to a side road that leads you into some kind of weeds that, makes you question your own sanity. I like to gaslight people. But this kid's a master negotiator, a master at just a great speaker. So he somehow talks, this kid goes from punching someone in the face, and Matt somehow talks him down from punching someone in the face to going, oh, I'm sorry. Hand the kid that was next to him that was holding the pizza for the jock, hands Matt the pizza as this is all going down. I have no idea why, because I'm like 100 feet away. I'm slowly coming back as I see everything settling down. Matt's talking everyone off a cliff. Matt lives maybe, 10-minute walk from where we're at. Somehow things calm down a bit. We walk back. Matt has their pizza. I don't know how Matt has their pizza that they had just bought. So they went from fighting us to giving a pizza to us. And then when we get back, for good measure, Matt calls the kid and goes, hey, why were you punching people? And the kid goes, whatever his dumb reason it was, probably about some, modicum of, you can't even remember. Probably half this story's made up. Anyway, Matt gets to talking to the kid, gets the kid to apologize for doing it, and says the beef is squashed. So Seth really just took a punch in the face for a free pizza. And that's kind of incredible, right? If I could take like a light, because it wasn't that bad. I don't think he was bleeding. If I could take a punch in the face every time I wanted a pizza, I think I would do it, because I don't really want that pizza that much. Maybe I want pizza once a week. I'll take a punch in the face once a week for a good pizza. It was a good pizza too. It was Casa Mia. If you know anything about Sparta, Casa Mia, top-notch pizza. All right, there's no Domino's. Like, Domino's, I'll take a slap to the face. Casa Mia, punch me right in my fucking nose. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so shout out to Matt to somehow negotiate that kid from going, I want to murder you, to, here, take my pizza, and everything's fine. Pretty amazing. So that kid who got punched in the face that was with us, who wasn't, smart enough to run like me, but also wasn't as cowardly as me. But I mean, there's no way you're going to beat this kid. I don't know why you wouldn't run there. Anyways, we're friends with this kid. Back in 8th grade, our first time smoking weed was at his house. Now, like 10 of our friends, this is all our first night smoking weed. This is a New Year's party. His family throws it every year, and all these high schoolers are there because he has 2 older sisters. Now, there's like 100 people in this house, and his parents just let high schoolers drink. This was the house every high school party happened at, and it was the house that every high school party happened at, and the parents were always upstairs. And the parents were upstairs, but they were still somehow pissed off about what was happening downstairs. Do you feel me? Like they allowed underage children to get intoxicated, but they were also mad that they were letting themselves, condone such a behavior. It was a very strange. I never understood their thought process there because I was a very young person. But rewind to 8th grade when we first, some of these older kids sell us weed. We all go to smoke weed. And, you don't know how to inhale as a kid. So we smoke like 10 joints before we actually figure out how to actually smoke weed. We finally get high, get back to Seth's room. It's like, like I said, like 10 of our friends. And we're in Seth's room upstairs because we're like, we can't face anyone right now. Like, your first time high, you're uncontrollable. So within the first 15 minutes of our first time being high, we just hear screaming downstairs. And apparently some kid was rolling a joint in the basement. Seth's dad found the kid rolling the joint, walked down there, was surprised that teenagers do marijuana when they're also, drunk. Because, weed's way worse than drinking. And this was 2009, I think, 2008, when people were still like, yeah, weed's like heroin. So he finds him rolling the joint, punches the kid in the face, throws him up against the wall, throws him out of the party, and that's the screaming that we heard, the back and forth. So Seth's dad comes upstairs, screams at us, if I find anyone else is smoking weed in my house, I'm gonna fucking kill them. And this guy is like a raging alcoholic, so you never know what kind of fucking shit'll fly off when this guy's drinking. Like this is the kind of dad that he will assault a child. That's the thing. And he did. Because, the kid was 16, that's still a child, but we were like 13. And we're in Seth's room losing our mind at this point. Like I had an out-of-body experience where I like astral projected into other rooms, and I'm like, hey, did I just leave the room? And they're like, no, you didn't. I'm like, God damn, I just walked out of the room from my mind. That's the level of stoned I am. When we hear his dad tell us that he's gonna kill people for weed. So this just freaks us the fuck out. And you'd think that would scare us straight from never, smoking weed again. But honestly, it's like one of the memories that I look back and I'm like, wow, dude, that's like top 10 most like biggest rushes I ever had, thinking that someone's dad who's like 50, drunk and angry about his whole life is just going to bust through the door and smash our face against the wall for doing what we're like. That was the most fun. I loved that rush as a kid, I love the rush of thinking you were going to be in danger and escaping it. I love getting myself into situations where you had a fight or flight. Because the flight was so fun. It's like an every man for himself type situation. It's like you have the camaraderie of your friends when you're like, oh shit, oh it's gonna happen. Oh, this grown man's gonna try to attack us. And then you all scurry, and it's like, oh man, I hope my friends get away. I hope they don't get caught and, smashed a beer bottle on their head. I hope that doesn't happen. But if it does, wow, what a story. And, that was the kind of relationship we had with adults because we were bad kids. And, we had a lot of experiences at this house. Obviously, I said we partied there as kids. And without going into the darker, like too dark of details of things, I'll tell you a couple more. We would, you know what a tube is, right? You know what a tube is? Like you put a 2-liter bottle inside of a carton, like a milk carton. You pull it up while it's lit with like a ratchet on the top. We used to smoke those because they saved a lot of money. Seth's mom hated that we all smoked weed But like she would never really do anything about it. She would always just like freak out on an epic level. And one day we're out, I think his mom's like gonna be gone for days or not come home for another day. And we're just like ripping a tube Seth's like ripping a tube right in the living room on the floor. Like sitting from the couch. She walks on the back deck, there's a big glass door. She just opens the door. And Seth, like a transformer, turns his body into a table like this. Like, you know, all four of his legs are the legs of a table and his back are the top. Thinking this will, you know, surely hide the contraption that's, you know, already has smoke coming out of it because he was already halfway through ripping it. His mom just goes, "Seth, what the fuck?" And she had like I don't even know if she was from the Midwest. She just was such an angry, bitter mom that she like had the Midwest mom accent. You know what I mean? Where she's like, oh, she would always go like, oh, wow. Seth, were you doing things on Snapchat? What were you doing on Snapchat? Oh, wow, mister. You can lump it on the side of the road like a tube steak. Oh, yeah, mister. But this time she was way angrier than that. She goes, "Seth, what the fuck is going on?" I don't even know what voice I just did there. I don't even know how Midwestern people being like extremely angry, it almost turns into like an Italian type accent, you know, like a heavy, oh yeah, like a Chicago, like the Bears. Oh wow, Mike Dickon, I'm angry. I'm freaking angry about it. Yeah, Midwesterners, they like feign anger really well, but when they're really mad, the Midwestern accent kind of evaporates. It's a strange phenomenon. So his mom absolutely loses it, and then we're just allowed over like a day later. Like that's the type of parenting we're dealing with here. You know, no need to really hide anything. Very odd. And then one time, Seth goes, "I'm going to take a shower. You guys can take our boat out on the lake." So we go, okay, we'll take a boat out. You know, we'll smoke a joint maybe out on the lake and come back. Neither of us have a boating license. Me and my other friend. And we come back to the dock to find his father home, drunk and angry. And that's the two combo of things that you never want to see another adult when you're a kid, and you never want to see them in that state, drunk and angry. He's even holding a beer bottle. And as we're coming into the dock, he's already screaming like, "What the fuck are you doing on my boat?" And we're like, "Yeah, Seth told us we could take it out," which he did. And then he proceeds to throw a beer bottle. Didn't hit either of us. But at this point, again, like I said, fight or flight. We get ourselves into these situations. We get the fuck out of there. Right? Dude, I love it. Looking back in retrospect, I love the situations as a kid where you're just like, okay, like, I can run from this insane adult who's actually going to beat me up instead of just reprimand me in like a responsible way. Like they would rather kick my ass than my parents find out that I was doing some fucked up shit. Which is great because the overreaction always justifies whatever you're doing. Like if you did something fucked up, doesn't matter what you did when you have a drunk, angry guy throwing beer bottles at you. It totally nullifies the horrible shit you do. It's great. Like it's like when you push someone to the edge of being so angry that they look insane, even though they might be justified in what is really making them angry, they just totally overreact. Now everyone thinks that they're completely fucking off their rocker. That's the kind of situations we would love to push adults into because I think we realize as kids that's kind of like that's kind of where you need to put an adult if you want to fuck with them. If you really want to fucking ruin their day. You really got to get them sent over the edge of anger so any other adult is just like, whoa, 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 whoa. You can't fist fight a 13-year-old. I don't care if he took a boat out. You can't fist fight a 13. I don't care if it was the 10th time they did something like this. You can't punch a kid, right? And I mean, that's just like a small abridged version of the juvenile delinquency of our childhood. And there'll be more stories. Maybe I'll do a part 2. Who knows? But stay tuned. Stay. I don't know. What state are you in right now? Stay that way, okay? I'm a little on edge. I've had like 400 milligrams of caffeine in the last 6 hours. I'll play Call of Duty for like 12 hours, okay? But like I'm also like coming down off the caffeine, so I'm like, when are the shakes gonna start, baby? All right, well, sometimes things are good. Sometimes episodes are bad. This episode was kind of bad, okay? But if you're listening still, you're an idiot. Because I think this is a bad episode. Okay? All right. Have a great day. And, thank you for listening to the bad episode. Yeah, I can't even say words right now. All right. Okay, no, you hang up. No, you hang up. You